Hello, Gore.
Hello, Jim.
Well, thank you, Carlos, for centering the camera just perfectly. I could see everyone in Saladana. I assume, actually, it's a very interesting metaphor, right? I actually don't know if I can see everybody because I can only see what's in the screen, much like we can only be aware of what we're aware of, right? Only be conscious of what we're conscious of.
But the intention is to sit everyone inside the viewing angle.
Yes. And that is also my intention, to be hopefully aware of, I don't know if everything is even possible, but as much as possible. So I think I see, thanks to the absence of masks, a few faces I do not recognize. I'll just first say I'm Jim, and I'm currently in San Francisco. Normally I lead this Sunday group, and I've been doing it for some close to, well, probably about 6 years, right around 6 years. So if you're willing, maybe we'll go around the room and you can introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Zoom. I see we have a couple people on Zoom as well. So maybe starting with Martina. Just say your name out loud so people get to know us.
Hello, my name is Martina. Happy to be here.
Did you hear that on Zoom?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. The next person?
Hello, Anna.
Anna, did you hear
Anna.
Anna?
Okay, I didn't quite, but second time I did. Anna, yep, thank you.
Hello, I am Nuria.
Nuria?
Nuria, okay, yeah, welcome back, Nuria. I think this is your...
I am Alicia.
Hi, Alethea. And it's almost, for some of you, I know your names well, but it's also for everybody, right? To create that sense of Sangha, right? Community.
Hi, Jim. Hi, everyone. My name is Nick.
Nick?
Hello, Nick.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Alexis.
Alexis?
Hello, Alexis.
Hello, my name is Juan. Nice to meet you.
Juan?
Hello, Juan.
Hello, Jim. My name is Leon.
Leon?
Oh, Leon. Yeah, Leon. Maybe I'll have you do the Sunday group next week if you're interested.
Hey Jim, my name is Rohit.
Rohit,
Yeah. Robert, welcome back.
and Carlos.
And you are Carlos. Thank you so much, Carlos. And online on Zoom, trying to do it in alphabetical order, starting with Emilio.
Hello, it's Emilio from Madrid.
Emilio.
Hello, this is Gore.
Hello, Gore.
Hi to everyone. I'm Javier.
Hello, Javier. Welcome back.
Hi, I'm Lara, and I'm in Italy.
Hello, Lara. Welcome back. And I think that's it. Yep. I'm going to go back to pinning the group. Let's see. There we go. Great. So maybe there's one who's just put up your hand if you're new. I think maybe one person is totally new, right? Or nobody? One person. Okay. Oh, two people. So Nick and Alexis. Okay. Good. Thank you. So just to give you a little summary of what we're going to do today. So first we're going to do a meditation, a somewhat guided, or, I call it a guided meditation that usually goes for about 32 minutes. And I will give some instructions at the beginning, and then we'll practice a while. And then at about the 20-minute mark, I'm going to give some additional or new instructions, and these are more of an invitation. You could continue practicing as you were, or you could try this new thing that I will introduce. And just real simply, in the first 20 minutes, we do what can be called samatha or samadhi practice, a stabilizing of the mind, trying to stabilize the mind and try to, you might say calm it down a little bit. And then hopefully at 20 minutes, maybe our mind is a little more calm. And then I'll introduce some instructions for a type of vipassana or insight meditation. And this one is a little more open, and it's really seeing into the changing nature of all phenomena. And is of the people who are new, are you new to meditation, or have you been practicing?
I've done some light at-home practicing, but I've never been in a guided meditation.
Have you heard that, Jim? No? Okay.
Yeah, your posture looks very good, so that's a good start. Okay.
Right.
I've done meditation for a couple of years, but mostly at home, and just a couple of guided sessions.
Okay.
Did you get that? Yeah.
Yes, I got that. Yeah. Actually, whatever computer you got there, it seems to work pretty good. I can hear. Good. Okay. So this is going to be it's going to be simple. We're going to, over a period of a few minutes, we're going to bring our concentration, or a better word would be our attention eventually to the breath. But at any point along the way, you can stop there and use whatever, the body, the full breath, or the breath just at one spot. And hopefully it'll be clear once we start. And I live in San Francisco. I live in a rather active barrio. It's like living in Lavapiés or something like that. So I will probably mute the mic when I'm not talking, so you don't have to get all the street noise. Anyways, any questions? Okay. So I set a little timer, which I will, oh, there it goes. So here we go. So first thing we want to do is check in on our posture and make sure that our posture is comfortable. We want to have a comfortable seated posture. And just the checking on our posture brings the mind into the present moment. Right? So we feel our body. Is it comfortable? And is this posture one that I can sustain for the full 30 minutes without moving? Obviously, you don't want to future trip or think about the future too much, but just checking in, is this a comfortable, sustainable posture? And then we want our posture to be dignified, you might say, or noble. We often say, like the Buddha. This reminds the mind, especially the unconscious mind, that right now we're meditating and we're going to meditate. So checking in with our posture, feeling our body, and being aware of our surroundings. Mostly through sounds, but maybe also just that felt sense of where we are. For those of you at Saladana, you might be able to feel or notice the presence of other beings around you, also meditating. Creating this sense of presence and an embodied presence where we're connected to our body and through our body, a través del cuerpo, we can sense, feel, experience the present moment. And so now bringing the attention into the body. Maybe doing a scan of the body from foot to head or head to foot, or just a general feeling of the body. What's present? What's alive in you right now? Are there currents of energy, tickling, maybe pressure at body parts, touching the chair, the floor, the cushion, other body parts? Maybe there's emotion present, or excitement, or worry, some kind of emotional activity. And we're just mindful, that is, aware without wanting to change it. Just let it be. And when we notice the mind is thinking, or that we've become lost in thought, in that moment, again, we are awake, we are aware, we are mindful once again. It's a moment to celebrate. And we redirect our attention back to the object, in this case, the body. Again and again. This is the practice. Please have no expectations that you'll be able to stay with the object very long. You won't, but we keep coming back. So now let's find the breath, the sensations of breathing, the movement of the body, the movement of the belly, the chest, maybe some sensation at the nostrils, tickling. So the breath, like the body, makes a very good anchor for our attention, something to come back to when we realize we've been thinking. So for some people, they very much like the body breathing. So they feel the whole body and the breath within the body, and this becomes the anchor. They try to stay with the breath, following the breath with interest and curiosity, and coming back to it again and again. And if you like a more specific or narrow anchor or object, you can then zero in on the breath at one place, maybe the nostrils, maybe the belly, or even the chest. So you can pick a spot and try to pick one that you enjoy, or that feels good, or that is easy. And let's just work with that anchor for a while. So it could be a specific spot, could be the body breathing, the whole journey of the breath within the body, or you could even just use the sensations of the body with the breath more in the background. Any one of those three works very, very well. And if the body is just too uncomfortable today, you can use sounds, listening, hearing as an anchor. Very receptive anchor. So I'll be quiet a while and we'll practice. Coming back again and again with celebration, cariño, with kindness, not with judging or criticizing, hopefully. If you want to use a tool, especially if you're working with the breath, you can count your exhalations, maybe stopping at 5 if you get there, and then just starting again, or if you get lost on your way to 5, just start again, no problem. Kind of helps us stay connected to the breath, counting. So hopefully the mind is a little calmer, a little more stable. Maybe we have a little more ability to pay attention, or maybe not, and it's all good. And if you're interested or willing to try something a little bit different, here we open up the awareness, the sphere of awareness, to allow whatever arises most obviously, strongest, to be our anchor until something else arises that is stronger, more obvious. And then that becomes the anchor. So this might even include thought, but definitely sounds, sensations, pain, tickling, body parts sleeping, and the breath. So we're not pushing away anything, and we're just seeing, okay, what is the most obvious? And then we rest the attention on that until something else arises. Keeping in mind the impermanent nature of all these things, how they just come and go. Nothing fixed, nothing permanent. Or if you want, you can just stay with your single object and practice coming back again and again to that. So in these final couple moments of our formal practice, let's return the attention inwards into the body, regrounding into the physical form. Maybe you notice the body feels a little different. Maybe at the beginning, maybe it's lighter, or maybe it's heavier. Maybe there's some discomfort. Maybe there's some emotional excitement because the meditation is coming to an end, or disappointment. Just feeling the body. And then if you're willing for a little final gratitude practice, bringing your attention to your heart space, to the chest area. I often put my hands here just to be clear as to where it is. Once you've connected with that area, thanking yourself mentally, thanking yourself for your practice, the goodness of your practice, the fact that you did this today. Took time out of whatever you might have been doing to connect to yourself, to care for yourself. This amazing practice. And then mentally thanking those around you, or on Zoom, or even YouTube, just thanking them for the goodness of their practice and the fact that they showed up to support us. We are supported by each other. And then taking this goodwill, this gratitude, and extending it out in all directions, imagining you can just reach out and touch all of life with this wish for all life to be well, to be safe, to be happy, to be at ease. And when you hear the sound of the bell, it's just another good opportunity to see what arises without judgment, just curiosity. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for continuing to show up again these Sundays, especially this is closing in on 2 months, I think, that I've been here in the US. I think it'll be at least 2 months. And of course, time makes things seem a little farther away, but thankfully with this group, I feel a little connected. Although, my view of Europe is pretty much Saladana, but that's fine. So what I thought I would do today is, I'm actually quite open to other things that might be of interest to people, but absent any strong desires, I thought I would begin to talk a little bit about mindfulness, and to do it, kind of as it was taught by the Buddha, in a discourse on sati, which is the Pali word that we translate in English as mindfulness. But I am open to talk about other things today, especially. In America, in the U.S., it's Mother's Day. And as many of you know, my mother passed away about 12 days ago. So we're not able to celebrate it with her or even send her, a text. Although we still have her phone, and I was thinking we could send it to her phone, but I don't think she'll get it. So yeah, feeling a little lost there. Something's missing a little bit. I did have my ex-wife though. I was able to send her a happy Mother's Day. That was good. She always appreciates it. Yeah, so maybe is there anything that any questions or any topic or anything about Buddhist meditation or meditation in general, that arises that is alive in somebody? Like something you've been thinking about. God, I wonder, what the heck does this really mean? Or how do you really do this? Or, anything like that. No, nothing really calling out. Okay. If something does, even while I start talking, yes, please.
Okay, now.
In a few sessions previously, you were talking about observing the mind or something. And I think maybe you could expand on that more. I think you were reading from that Joseph Goldstein's book or something. I think I vaguely remember that. So somehow that is still, it's like I want to know more. So
yeah, so do I. I love this. So I don't know if on Zoom whether you heard, but he was curious about a comment I guess I made a few weeks ago about observing the mind. Okay, so maybe I'll start with this because I just happened to see during this week, I watched a little short video clip by a Tibetan master, Yangur Mingur Rinpoche is his name, and he is quite well known, especially in Tibetan circles, but beyond, for his dedication to practice. And his father also was a Rinpoche, a teacher, and a very important one. And this guy, this young fella, had an amazing practice, but he also suffered from extreme forms of anxiety. Even as a child, he was like stricken by this anxiety, and he managed through practice to surpass it, let's say, or get beyond it. Anyways, he wrote a wonderful book, which I read 15 years ago, called The Joy of Living. Some of you might have seen it. It's pretty common, probably, many hundreds of thousands in print. Anyways, I saw this little video clip by him, and he talked about the difference between like Dzogchen, which is a Tibetan form of meditation, and mindfulness. And the first one is really like awareness of the mind. And it's a little more like what we do when we do Vipassana, where we've opened up the awareness to whatever arises. And I'm no Dzogchen expert by any means. I've never even been to a retreat specifically for that. It's just what I've heard or read or whatever. or also called Maya Mudra, Mahamudra. And it's, as I understand it, it's being aware of the vastness, the clarity, the infiniteness of the mind. While mindfulness is more, there usually is an object. We are mindful of something. Mindful of the body, mindful of the breath, mindful of feelings, mindful of mental formations, and mindful of dhammas. Those are the 4 groups in the Satipatthana. So this first question, mindfulness of the mind, what we notice is that the mind is empty. They use the word luminous, so it's bright, but it's just empty. There really isn't anything there. And if we can get to that, call it a state for the moment. Just if we can get to that state where we can notice the mind in this way, it can bring about joy. It can bring about compassion. You don't even have to work at it. These things just naturally arise when we can rest in the luminosity, in the spaciousness, the emptiness of the mind. And it's this is a huge topic. There's many different forms of it. It also goes into the Hindu Advaita practices of non-dualism. And it's a beautiful, beautiful way to practice. And ever since I got this nerve damage, which I'm beginning to think is in my teeth, because one of my crowns fell off. I ate it yesterday. I'm like, what the heck is this? And now my crown is missing. And so now I've got a little pain in my tooth, which I'm wondering if it's, I don't know, we'll find, you guys will be the first to know if it turns out if I pull this tooth and the nerve energy is gone, yay! But I'm trying not to be too hopeful. But ever since this started to happen, I started practicing more in this openness of the mind style, and man, I just love it. It is like rejuvenated my interest in practice. So I wonder if there's anything else I can say about it. Here's how you can get to it. Okay, one way is, we close our eyes, but still imagine that you're seeing with your eyes, right? But your eyes are closed, but then you put your attention into the eyes, and then you look into the darkness, or look into the mind, or look into the head. However you want to imagine it, doesn't matter. I think of this kind of like looking into this prefrontal cortex part of the head, and just look. And very quickly, you will notice there ain't nothing there. It's empty. It's just space. And the longer you can kind of look at it, you will start to feel the nervous system goes, man, this is cool. I like this. And you'll also notice that the thoughts will kind of stay at bay. Now they'll come. Eventually the subconscious, the unconscious will say, okay, enough of this. I want to think. And it will think. And we have no control over that. But this is a great way to kind of keep the thoughts at bay a little bit longer, is by looking with your eyes, but your eyes are closed, but you imagine looking with, we used to call it the third eye, or the mind's eye, into this space. And you could even look for thoughts, like, where are you, thoughts? kind of scanning around. Or one of mine is like, come on, thoughts, show yourself, which they don't, they hide, So that's a real easy way for you to establish some awareness of the mind, or establish awareness of awareness, really. You could also call it that. Or you could call it awareness of presence, awareness of being. I like that way of phrasing it. Being aware of our beingness, which is all happening in the mind, right? So I could just go on and on and on, but I don't know, was that at all helpful for you, or?
Yep.
It's a super interesting topic, as well as a method. And it's really what the Tibetans do. This is how they meditate. It's being aware of lokeseya, of just whatever. It's having a very open awareness and resting in that. You're resting in awareness, basically. And in the more traditional, like Theravadan, and like in the Satipatthana Sutta, the way it's referred to is, it might be like knowing, okay, there is sight, and we know there is sight. We know we are seeing. Or there is sounds, and we know there are sounds. That second part, that we know there are sounds, or there is knowing of sounds, is this awareness. It's like a sense of knowingness, right? So we're sitting, we're being, right? Sometimes that's my mantra to myself, is just be. Don't do. Don't even follow the breath. Don't even observe. Just be. And that instruction sometimes can very gently lead me to this mindfulness or this awareness of mind, this awareness of presence, this awareness of awareness. And for some people, this may even be easier. For other people, they need an object. They need an object, or the mind is just going to float about and never come back, right? And both are absolutely good. For me, maybe because causes and conditions, whatever, I like having a little more space. When I get narrow, I get a little tenser, a little tighter, and it takes me, like on retreat, sometimes many days before I can really just focus on one small area. But for others, they need that. Like I have one teacher, he's like, if I don't have that one object, I feel totally lost. Well, for me, it's kind of the opposite. I'd rather have lots of space. So good, thank you. That was a good question. Obviously, I had a little bit to say about it anyways. Anyone else have any questions or just curiosity about something? Okay. So, even on the meetup group, I think it was, as a potential topic, I had put presence and mindfulness, both. And so thankfully, we sort of talked about presence a little bit. So now we could talk a little bit about mindfulness. And I think the definition of mindfulness that I like the best comes from Joseph Goldstein, who was mentioned, right? And his way of defining it, here I'm going to mute you back, Saladana. His way of defining it is being aware without any greed or any aversion or any confusion, which, as many of you know, are the three poisons, the three causes of our suffering: greed, hatred, delusion. So it's a knowing without those things, where those things are not present, they're absent. And just naturally, without us having to do anything, when we're aware without those qualities present, there's also just naturally a bit of kindness in our awareness. It's just how the brain is put together, where when this kind of awareness without an agenda, because basically we have no agenda, we don't want it, we don't not want it, we're not confused about what our intentions are, it's just clear knowing. This brings with it just naturally a bit of empathy, a bit of kindness. Comes from the prefrontal cortex and the insular cortex parts of the brain, and that's what you get. So it's a very beautiful way of being present and paying attention. It's like when my mother was in her final days, and then breaths, literally breaths, I was just sitting there being mindful of her, right, and mindful of her breath. And it just felt so beautiful. I had no agenda other than to be present. And we can be that way with pretty much anything. I mean, it's one thing if it's an inanimate object like this, but it's a beautiful way to be in relationship with another. Because almost always when we're speaking, what we want is to be heard, to be understood, to feel like the person gets us, right? Well, if they're, looking at their phone or, their watch, if they still have one, or, talking when we talk and stuff like that, we're not going to feel that. But if they're just present, in other words, mindful, then the other person, the person talking, is going to get that feeling. This person cares. This person is interested. And there's even workshops where this is all they do is have dialogue. In fact, I think dialogue is even part of the word. It's like mindful dialogue or something like that. I can't quite remember exactly, but I've heard of these retreats that go on for 10 days, 2 weeks. And basically that's what they do all that time. Rather than meditate alone, they meditate in pairs, where one is listening and the other person is talking. So it's a beautiful type of awareness where we don't have an agenda, or if we have an agenda, it is to be kind. Right? As the Dalai Lama said, he said, "My religion is kindness." He didn't say my religion is Buddhism or whatever. He said, my religion is kindness. Thich Nhat Hanh, same. How important mindfulness was to that community practice. That's what's so unique about the Thich Nhat Hanh world in Plum Village in France and so forth, is that it's community, sometimes hundreds of people living together in community. And the way they're able to do that without, too much conflict is through mindfulness. And some people even call it, they said it's a bad translation. It's a 19th century English translation that is really drawn from a Christian background of this word sati. And some people say a better translation, it would be heartfulness. Heartfulness. Yeah, so sometimes this is a bit of a risk, I think, when it comes to talking about mindfulness, because the way the Buddha taught it, it's comprehensive for sure, but it can seem a little bit dry or a little bit, like school, kind of like a teaching where you got to take notes and memorize the lists, and then there's going to be a test. And I was thinking about that, how to kind of keep it warm, because it really is warm. It's warm and fuzzy, really. That's how it's intended to be. It's not intended to be cold. It's not intended to be indifferent. This is the opposite of what it is. It's actually very interested, it's like a curious form of awareness where we really want to know. We really want to know our breath, for instance. In the way that the Buddha had put it about the breath, is when breathing in long, we know we're breathing in long. When breathing in short, we know we're breathing in short. Well, he gave us those two examples, but it could be the whole range of breaths. Fast, short, deep, shallow, where the exhale is different than the inhale, where we notice how the body relaxes a little bit with the exhale and how it kind of tenses up a little bit with the inhale. Very subtle, but very interesting. This comes from being mindful, from paying attention without an agenda. So maybe I'll stop there and we'll do a walking meditation. Although I am curious, how many people like the walking meditations that we've been doing over the last few months? Okay, that's enough. And those who didn't vote, I think, are new, so that makes sense. Good. Okay. So I'm going to explain a little better or more completely this time. Last week, I kind of rushed through the explanation. So the type of walking meditation we do, more or less, is found in the Theravadan retreats of America and England, and then also in the monasteries and so forth in Southeast Asia. And what we do is we take just a short path of maybe a couple meters. So we're not going anywhere, and we're not doing it in a circle like they might do in the Zen traditions or so forth. We're just taking an individual path, and now we're becoming mindful or aware of our walking. And especially what I do, and I think is most often taught, it's the touching of the ground by your foot, the feeling of that. But you could also, be aware of the entire movement of the foot, picking it up, moving it forward, placing it down, right? Picking it up, moving it forward, placing it down. What I tend to do, though, is I'm just looking for and waiting for that touch. And that's where that's my object, that's my anchor, is the touching of the floor. And just like when we're sitting, the mind is going to wander. And then we just notice, oh, thank you. Okay. Come back to the anchor, the touching. And, obviously I'd get to the end of those couple meters and then you mindfully turn around, you're aware, you turn around and then you walk back. It's back and forth. So if you're in the hall, let's go the narrow, go the width rather than the length, so that we don't have Greek traffic jams and people bumping into each other. And I hope you're not Greek or a taxi driver. And so we'll do that for 6 minutes and then I'll ring the bell. Any questions? No, okay. I will walk as well. Thank you again for your practice and for coming back. Just in our last few minutes here, I think probably, especially if you're relatively new to meditation, the thing I'd really like to emphasize or remind us is that it's arguably like an uphill battle, you might say, or as the Buddha put it, against the stream. What we're doing is going upstream. We're fighting the current. And by the currents, I mean, we're fighting our survival instincts, right? We're fighting the default mode of the mind, which is to think and worry and plan and, go like that. We're fighting our cultures, which especially in the West is about consume, it's about distract yourself, it's about believing that some external thing is going to bring us happiness. And if that external thing hasn't brought you happiness, well, then you just need a better version of that external thing, a different phone, a different car, a different apartment, a different partner. There's so many forces in our society that goes against being mindful, that goes against being present. And yet, none of them bring us any form of lasting happiness. I mean, I use the football team Real Madrid often as an example of a type of happiness, right? So even I was a little bit happy when I learned that Real Madrid had scored 2 quick goals at the end of their match against Manchester City and were going to the Champions League final. I was like, yay! I felt some excitement and some happiness. I didn't want, the Champions League to be 2 English teams. And I always root for Spain just because it's my adopted home. But of course, that only lasted for a short period of time, that form of happiness. And it's even a type of happiness that is probably, arguably, the better word really is like excitement. It's not like I feel, more compassion or more contentment or more ease in my life because Real Madrid is going to the finals of the Champions League. No, but I do feel a little excitement. Oh, that's exciting, And, use another sports metaphor. Here in the San Francisco Bay Area of California, we have a great basketball team called the Golden State Warriors, and now they're in the playoffs as well. And they just won, last night. But these forms of happiness, if you could even call them happiness, are short-lived, and then they only work if your team is good. Because if your team is lousy, or if your team loses, well, then you feel bad, right? So we're like hooking our emotional well-being on some external thing of which we have absolutely no control. And this is how the Western world and maybe the whole world is basically operates, is to try to get the external circumstances going in our favor as much as possible. And it is, literally like impossible to get them to go in our favor all the time. But if we go inside, right? If we go into our mind, connect with our body, become mindful, even for a short period of time, during that short period of time, we are good. Because even if Real Madrid wins or not, what creates the excitement is a thought I have, right? It's literally, it has 99.9% to do with the thought I have, oh, Real Madrid won and they're going to play in the final. That thought, because of my preferences, that thought creates a little bit of excitement. So it really is an inside job even there. It's the thoughts that we have that create our emotional ups and downs. And this is probably one of the most important things for us to realize, that it doesn't have anything to do with the external, really, or they're just triggers to what goes on in the mind, and it's what goes on in the mind that determines how we feel. Whether we're going to be happy or sad or scared or mad or whatever it is going to be a function of the thoughts we have. And you could go take this even as far as the war in Ukraine. Such a tragic thing, right? And it's the thoughts. When we read the paper and we see what's going on there, that triggers this thought that causes us to feel unhappy or angry or powerless or whatever it is. So with mindfulness practice, or awareness of awareness practice, maybe even better, we see the true nature of the mind as being empty, luminous, spacious, infinite. And when we rest there, we will feel good. I guarantee it, or your money back. And the longer we can spend time there, the better. And so even with this walking meditation, which we can do anywhere, right? Because we're walking around, or when we're not walking, let's say we're just waiting, so our feet are touching the ground, just we're waiting in line somewhere or whatever, or standing in the metro. If you just put your awareness into your feet for even just 10 seconds, it will help. 20 seconds better. Of course, the mind will start to think. You just bring it back gently, back to that sensation. And the more we can do this, the happier, the true happiness, which is a much more content, light, spacious sort of a happiness. When we're talking about happiness in Buddhism, we're not talking about excitement. No. You're not going to get a mainline, series of dopamine drips from happiness in the Buddhist context, but you'll get a nice, once in a while, drop of dopamine. Believe me, the dopamine will come, but it just comes much more gently. So I guess to just sum that up, the more we can be present, the more we can be mindful, the more we can be aware of whatever's arising in the present moment without any greed, without any wanting, without any aversion, without any hate, and without any confusion, really, the happier we're going to be. Just guaranteed. And the last thing I guess I'll just add to this, though, but it's a slow retraining of the mind. The mind has its habits, and if we want to be more present, if we want to be more mindful, we're going to have to retrain it in that direction, or train it in that direction, and that takes time. Think of it like learning a language. How long does it take to learn another language? Unless you're just incredibly skilled at learning languages, it takes years. it takes years, right? Same with this. It could take years, but you'll see progress. Okay, I'm gonna shut up with that, and I'll just, yeah, does anybody have any questions or comments? I see Javier moving forward. Javier, you want to say something?
Yes, I'm curious because I was this afternoon. I was seeing in the TV the final of tennis in Madrid.
Yes.
And I am very excitement because there is one Spain.
Yeah, young
Alcaraz.
fella, yeah.
Yes, and these days I was watching the tennis, and I am feeling the excitement, like you said, and I am thinking why I like this person win. So I'm agree with you that we are very addict to the excitement.
Yes.
Yes.
Alvarez, I think his name is, right? Alvarez?
Alcaraz.
Oh, Alcaraz. Yeah, he's 19. That's great.
Yes. And
Yeah,
I think that in this society is the people don't or myself I don't like to be boring, aburrido.
Yeah.
To be with difficult emotions, and I think it's important to be in this state, because not I want to be always happy or excitement. No?
Yes.
I think.
Yes, I agree. I agree, Javier. It is addicting. The excitement is very addicting, and we are an addictive creature. You know, even more than habit-making creatures. We're that, and we're addictive. And for whatever reason, nature made us this way. I'm sure there's some survival reason why we are the way we are. And we get addicted to excitement. But we're not really, I don't think, so addicted to the excitement itself. We're addicted to the chemicals that are released into the nervous system by whatever our stimulus is. That's what we get addicted to, like the hit of dopamine or whatever it is, or adrenaline or what have you. And as a former sport fanatic, fan, follower, I mean, I still obviously follow sports a little bit, but the contentment, the happiness that comes from being still, the bliss that comes from being still is better. The equanimity that comes from practice is better. And it will take time to detach from that addiction to excitement to start to get addicted to stillness. I mean, literally, it becomes almost like an addiction too, because the mind likes it. It's like, wow, this feels great. I want more of it. So we can be addicted to stuff, and you can get addicted to alcohol, drugs, I mean, the worst of stuff, or sports, the excitement of sports, or equanimity. Wow, equanimity is better. Anyway, okay, we're up against noon, but I'm gonna, hopefully nobody cares. We're gonna go a few minutes over. We'll do a little metta meditation, similar to what we did at the end of our half an hour sit, but just to close this out. It's kind of tradition we have. So, if you can find your comfortable posture once again, This one only goes for a couple minutes, so don't worry. And again, what I often do is put my hands at my chest, heart center, feel that connection. And so here, for those of you who are new to this, metta is the Pali word that means like goodwill or friendliness or loving kindness. And we use phrases here, wishes, and we'll start off directing them towards ourselves and then to a benefactor, after that, a difficult being, and then all beings. So starting with ourselves, try to again connect to your body. Say to yourself mentally, may I be happy. Not may I be excited, but may I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Live easefully. So the second group, let's again call to mind the people in Ukraine. Los Ucranianos. And let's imagine sending this goodwill in their direction. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be safe. May they live with ease. And now the difficult person or the difficult being. This might be a little harder, but try to draw to mind, bring to mind somebody who hurts your feelings, somebody you have a resentment towards. There's a little bit of conflict or hurt. Let's just see if we can offer them goodwill. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And lastly, all beings in all directions, without exception. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. And to take us out in the tradition of renunciation, of letting go, of generosity, we offer up the fruit or merit of our practice today, our Buddha nature, the teachings, our community or Sangha. We offer these up to the benefit of all beings. May all beings be happy and peaceful, healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free of war and violence, discrimination, racism, and free from whatever diseases might be out there. And may all beings find their path, find their list, find their teachings that can lead to the end of suffering, to the end of their suffering. May all beings be free. So thank you all again very much. Thank you for being here. Just a couple quick announcements. One is around Dana, which is also a Pali word, Sanskrit word as well, that means generosity or giving. And this is how we do everything at Saladana, where none of the sessions have a charge. We're a financial charge. We offer them freely and in the spirit of generosity. And you are also able to practice, and it really is a practice. It's, again, something that we develop and create that joy or discover that joy of generosity. But you can also practice dana with a financial donation to the center, either in the box out in the entrada, or you can do it through BISM or a transferencia, and all donations are welcome. And you can also, in the sala there, you can help us clean up. And if you see something out of place, a plastic bottle or whatever, feel free to take it to the recycling and, just kind of keep the place clean. From what I could tell, it looks very clean. I'm very happy that it's being well cared for. And then the other announcement I have is that in 2 weeks, we have a meditation retreat with a monk from Los Angeles. And that will be in Galapagar in Madrid from the Monday to the Friday. There's still lots of plazas, lots of space. We also have like a scholarship fund. So if anybody is right now a little tight on money or whatever, and they can't afford to go, talk to me, because we have some extra money where we can help people who really want to go. So I'm excited about it. Looking forward to attending myself. And yeah, anything from anyone else? I know we've got a couple teachers present. Leon is offering Zen sessions Tuesday morning and every other Thursday. And Martina is also with us. And thank you for that. Any announcements from anybody? Okay, well, very good. Such an honor, such a privilege to do this. Really helps my practice. I mean, that's the truth too, is it keeps me close to the Dharma. And I look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks. I will be there. Looking forward to that. So I will stay on as long as anybody wants to talk to me, and have a good evening. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Carlos, for your service again. I very much appreciated, and Alethea for your computer.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Lara. It's good to see you. You were missing for a couple of weeks, I noticed.
Was traveling, yeah.
Oh, where'd you go? Argentina or?
No, I went to Ireland for work and then to Spain, but not Madrid.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're back. Hey, Javier, I want to say one thing to you about, bye, Lara. It's very important. Don't be adverse to your excitement. That's great.
Yeah.
We don't want to, you know what I mean? Be upset because we're excited. Enjoy it. Yeah, that's great. That kid, he's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Hasta luego. Bye-bye.
Bye, Jen. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. So good to see you.